As you probably noticed by hearing my terrible accent, I'm David Bernard, a French business psychologist, and I'm also the CEO of AssessFirst. So, what is AssessFirst? AssessFirst is a company we established in 2002. At the very beginning, we were test publishers. It means that we developed different assessment tools, like a personality questionnaire, motivational questionnaire, or aptitude test, and things like that. We did that job during approximately 10 years, and in 2012, we moved into predictive recruitment. It means that now we can help companies predict how good their employees will perform on a job, and also if they will be happy or not at a particular position. And since 3 years, we have a massive growth. It means that we're going from 8 regular employees to now more than 30 absolutely talented people. And we also have now 3,500 different customers in 30 different countries. But I'm here today to tell you more about the massive challenge recruiters are facing. What is the challenge? The challenge is that nowadays, most people, and especially young generation, it seems that they don't want to make any more compromises. They want the whole package. It means that they want to have an exciting life, of course, and it includes a great job, endless opportunities. They want to work with awesome colleagues, and they need also lots of room for personal and professional development. And of course, they want to have it all in a company with a great culture in which they have the capacity to be truly themselves. But it seems to be a problem ahead, because when we look at the hiring numbers, hiring seems really to be broken. What do I mean? It means that when we consider recruitment over an 18 months time frame, when you recruit people, 1 out of 2 will quit his job or will be fired. And even when you consider those who are still on the job, only 1 out of 10 will declare himself or herself fully engaged, passionate, and happy on the job. But as a recruiter, what exactly is your job about? We think that your job is to identify among your prospective candidates who are the ones who are likely, of course, to perform, but also to be happy on the job. But if you are like most of the recruiters we meet every day, you probably still do the job the old way. It means that you probably use digital tools like LinkedIn or Indeed, I think, to gather information, to find candidates, to source your candidate, and the information you can access as those who are already contained in the CV or the resume of people. You can access information such as where they are coming from, which kind of schools they attended, which type of jobs they hold before applying to your company, and even then their hobbies. And your job is to base your decision on that information, and with that information, you must predict performance, future performance of your candidate, and also their happiness. But in fact, those information are absolutely not a good predictor of how well a candidate will perform on a job and how much he will be happy. You can predict only up to 12% of the difference between highest performers, poor performers, most happy people, and the least happy people. If you want to increase those numbers, what you have to do is to focus on inner potential of people, who they really are. And at AssessFirst, we consider that the potential of people is a unique combination of the 3 different aspects. The first one is reasoning. It's how the person thinks, the speed of thought, the ability to think on their feet. The second very important criteria is motivation, because here it's what the person can do. Here is what the person wants to do. And of course, you have the third pillar, which is personality. With personality, you can anticipate behaviors your candidates are likely to demonstrate under normal or under stressful conditions. We developed different assessment modules, which only require 10 minutes to be to complete. We developed Brain to assess reasoning abilities of people. To assess the motivation, we developed Drives. You can have access to 20 different motivational traits, 20 different drivers, and with Shape, you can analyze the personality of your candidates or of your employees. And thanks to our algorithm, every time a candidate has a full profile, we can predict the natural talents of your candidate. What are the natural talents? This is all the things that your candidates can demonstrate at the highest level and which would require additional effort to other people than the candidate. And when we talk about predictive recruitment, what it is, it's all about comparing natural talents of each and every one of your candidates with a predictive model. So we talk about personality, motivation, reasoning ability, predictive analytics. We also talk about all those things. Sometimes it can be confusing. It can seem confusing. But as you can see, we made it very practical. It means that when you want to use a predictive model, you can use one of the 300 benchmark models we developed based on more than 5 million people assessed in 30 different countries. So you just have to pick the one you want to use. Or if you want, you can also create your own predictive model by answering a bunch of questions concerning the type of jobs you want to offer the candidate. So for example, you can define the given perimeter, the complexity to manage, the work methods. Are there methods and well-specified process to follow, or will the candidates be able to choose the methods he wants to use? Management, project management, the workload, and things like that. You have approximately 20 different questions. And at the very end of the questionnaire, we will generate for you a public registration link. You just have to copy and paste this link in your job advertising, for a job offer, in LinkedIn, Indeed, or whatever job board you use. And every time a candidate clicks on that link, he self-registers on AssessFirst, he completes his profile, and at the end, he will arrive in this campaign. So here, for example, it is a campaign for a telemarketer position. You have all the different candidates with here the global fit with the job, okay? So if you scroll, you have all the candidates. If I put my mouse here, for example, I can see the global fit, fit for personality, fit for motivation, fit for reasoning abilities, and we also add a fourth fit. It's the fit with the manager. It means that if you ask the hiring manager to complete his profile, so you can see if the two people are going to work well together. You can also click on the map to geolocalize all your candidates. For example, here I projected all the candidates. If I move that, I can make appear only the candidates who are 60% or higher compliant with the job. So let's get back to the ranking. Let's come back to the ranking. Here we just have 33 candidates to manage. So it's pretty easy. You can shortlist the candidate, you can reject the application, but imagine if you have 300, 400 different candidates. So it can become tricky. So we start to imagine at AssessFirst a way to obtain a recommendation. We said ourselves, wow, it would be cool if we had a sort of magic button. You just have to click on it and we will make all the analysis of the profile, but not only based on these criteria, but based on the specific correlation we can have with every personality trait and motivation. So we created that magic button. You just have to click on it and automatically we will highlight in blue the candidates you absolutely have to meet for the face-to-face interview because they are 100% fit with the job. And we put in red the people who are not in the target. as you can see, sometimes you can have people with not very high fit score, but we put it in blue. Why? Because it's a bit like in the real life. Sometimes when you look at the CV or the resume of people, sometimes it's pretty obvious. You don't want this person is very cool, and sometimes you have a resume, it's not exactly the perfect CV, but you want to give a chance to the person because of specific information. So that's exactly the same thing. So after that, once you shortlisted the candidate, if you want, you can click, for example, on the fit score of Emmanuel. I click on it, and here you can download a full report with a lot of questions you can ask to the person during the interview to validate the profile. And if you scroll, you have all the detail of the fit. For example, for personality, motivation, reasoning abilities. Here, it is the probability of success of the person on the job. Here, it's the probability of being happy, passionate, and engaged on the job. If I scroll down, I have all the details. Here, it is the personality profile of the person, for example, of Emmanuel. And you have green zone, red zones, and gray zones. Green zone stands for the required behaviors, those who are linked to high performance on the job. Red zones are the counterproductive behaviors. And the gray zones are the behaviors that are not very relevant for the job. So, we decided to make it simple. So as we just see, you can predict performance and happiness of Emmanuel, but it was not enough. Why? Because imagine, you want to recruit Emmanuel, but Emmanuel, she will not work alone. She will work, for example, with Clément Duchesne. Imagine a system in which you could, just by clicking on another button, have a probability of the matching between the two people. And no, don't laugh, it's not Tinder for the workplace, absolutely not. What we did is we just reproduce what happened in the real life. Because in the real life, you have to work with people, but sometimes it's very easy to work with some people. Sometimes with other people, it will be much more difficult. So you just have to select the name of Clément, for example. I click on it. I have an appreciation of the matching between the two people. So it's what we call the professional affinity. And we also tell you, are there quite similar profile or are there much more complementary? Because it's not just easy, similar equals high professional compatibility. Because sometimes you can have people who are very different, very complementary, and they still have a very high professional affinity. So after that, we can tell you, will it be easy for Emmanuel to work with Clément? Will it be easy for Clément to work with Emmanuel? Because it's not always reciprocal. And after that, we give you additional information concerning the compatibility of the two people. So you have information concerning the way they interact, the approach they have, the way they think, the way they resolve problems, the way they handle conflicts, for example. And at the very end, we also decided to make it very empowering for the candidate, because if you want to engage your candidate, you have to propose them a very good experience. So every time a candidate completes his profile, he accesses a first level of information concerning who he is. For example, Emmanuel will access information concerning her preferred behaviors. We give her information concerning her strong points in the relationship with others, in the way she works, in the way she manages emotions. We also give her talent tags. Basically, it's keywords describing the profile of the person. We give her tips, how she could be more effective, information concerning what drives her less, activity she prefers, type of environment she seeks, the kind of management she is looking for. And of course, when you evaluate the hiring manager, you can have information concerning his own management style to make the matching, the kind of culture in which he blossomed, and also information concerning her reasoning abilities. And at the very end, when she completed the 3 different questionnaires, she has the ability, it's my profile, for example. Here, I can compare my profile with 26 different functions that are listed on LinkedIn. So you have here the probability of success and probability of thriving, of being happy and passionate about the job. For example, I don't have to go into the administrative position. And if I click on a particular function, here is the list of the specific positions that are listed under the function. So, at AssessFirst, we really consider that what you have to do is to help you achieve success, but especially success on the long term. It means that every time we have a collaboration with a customer, what we focus on is to help him measure the return on investment that can be linked to the implementation of the solution after over a 12-month period. And what we can notice in general is that we help you recruit more performing people, up to 15%. You can reduce your hiring cost because you will meet less people, less candidates, but much more qualified candidates. You can also reduce the time to hire by up to 30%, and you can also reduce the attrition rate by up to 15%. So, for example, that's what our customers say. For example, Pascal Vincent from Burger King, since we've been using AssessFirst, we reduced the attrition rate by up to 50% on the restaurant manager position. We also worked with Fatal Chef from Le BHP Marais, which is like a big department store like Selfridges, for example. They reduced the time to recruit by 30%, and they also recruit now 11% more performing employees. It means that every time they hire people who were on the 60% with a 60% match with the predictive model, they generated more revenue per corner, 11% more revenue. And we also have companies like Carrefour, for example. They use it for recruitment, but also to develop people. For example, Thierry Bougeral used the application to create personalized development plan for the people. And like them today, that's more than 3,500 different customers who use our solution in 30 different countries. And together, they already predict the performance and happiness of more than 5 million people. So we work with different kind of company. They can work in retail, services, industry, tech and consulting, insurance and banking. And in England, for example, we have a Zara, Lidl. We also work with, as you can see, different. We work also with approximately 400 different hiring firms, consulting firms. And we also have partnership with business school, because it can be a very interesting tool when you want students to reflect, to think about how they will enter the job market, how they will present themselves, their talent, and things like that. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you today. So if you have any information, do not hesitate to speak slowly. Thank you.
Hi. So with the assessments, would it be that a candidate would only have to answer the assessment once, or does it depend on the type of roles that they're interested in?
Is it always the same assessment? That's it? Yeah. It's the same assessment because you have 2 different ways to consider it when you are in the assessment market. You can say, okay, every time, for example, I want to recruit an accountant, I have to have a test specialized for the accountant. But what we focus on is really transversal criteria. And personality, it's exactly the same way to assess the personality of an accountant, of a sales representative, for example. You have validated models. For example, we use the Big 5 models to assess personality. It's the same for every position. what will vary, what will be different, will be the predictive model. The definition of the criteria you are looking for when you recruit for certain position. Because we've been refining the different questionnaires since 2002, and we prefer to base all the prediction we make on something strong than creating a new tailor-made test for every position.
And how long would you say that it takes for a candidate to complete the assessment?
Yeah. Sorry. It requires 10 minutes for personality questionnaires, 10 minutes for motivation, and 12 to 15 minutes for reasoning ability test. So it's approximately half an hour. And we have what is interesting is that we measure the completion rate on our candidate base, and they complete 86% of the candidate completed all the 3 different questionnaires.
You mentioned you test reasoning ability.
Yeah.
Is that explicitly a test, or is it a self-assessment?
It's you have different problems to resolve. For example, you have a numerical reasoning test. You also have, for example, a small text with different statements below, and you have to say, based on the text I just read, is this statement true, false, or I do not have enough information to... And you have a chart to analyze the ratio and things like that too.
Hiya. Do you have any data at all on the statistical significance of the predictive validity of these tests?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's very important, because when we make a prediction, we have a 95% confidence in the results. And what we do, as I said, every time we create a predictive model for a company. So what you have to do basically is we have to gather information concerning the employees of the current employees of the company. For example, it can be a result of an annual interview. It can be performance indicators over a period of 12, 24, 36 months. And after that, so we have the performance of people in the organization. We ask them to complete the questionnaire. So we have what they can deliver, who they are. We match all those information. The data scientists, they crunch the data. They create a predictive model. After that, the company uses the predictive model to make future hirings. And 12 months later, we assess all the new people who've been recruited. And we ask the company for information concerning performance of people, the time to perform, and things like that. And after that, we can compare the prediction we made with what happened in the real life. And so that's how we measure this confidence indicator. That's very important for us, because today it's like everybody's in the predictive business, but we really think that everybody can make a nice promise, promise something, but we consider that our job is to see if does it happen, or sometimes it happens, but less than we think. And that's also the reason why every year we revise the predictive model. We adjust the predictive model based on the actual results we obtain.